have Magnus Carlsen entering here for the SG Alpine Warriors. He's the icon player for his team, and taking him on is the one and only Jan Nepo from the Balan Alaskan Knights. They are playing at the Global Chess League. You can see Jan has some jokes for Magnus. Magnus is smiling, not reacting much. And I think it's time to go. A handshake? Not really. They think it's still there is some time to wait. A smile by Magnus, and off we go. Magnus versus Jan in Dubai. This has happened before, the World Championship match 2021, and now they're playing at the Global Chess League after 2 years. Knight f3, and Nepo goes for Petrov. He loves this opening so much. He's so well prepared here. Knight takes, pushes the knight away. The knight has to come back. Yes, it does. And Nepo chops off the pawn on e4. Now, common move is to push the pawn to d4, but Magnus plays bishop d3. Jan pushes his pawn. The queen comes up. Generally, you defend it with f5 or queen e7, but Jan goes for this pawn sacrifice line. This has been played before, but Jan is so well prepared. And to play this pawn sac line against Magnus is not a trivial thing, especially because you've given up a pawn for only small compensation. What is the compensation? Black has the bishop pair, and this does give some kind of a feel of Marshall Gambit, some sort of that opening where black has free flowing development and bishop pair, but white has no weaknesses and an extra pawn. What is going to triumph here? Rook e8 played, and Magnus plays his rook to e1. Now you can't move the bishop because the rook on e8 would hang. Bishop e6 is a normal natural move, but he plays bishop d7, defending the rook on e8. Bishop comes up to d2. Well, Jan has to play this carefully, because if he is not accurate, then very soon his missing pawn will create a lot of problems for him. But Jan seems to believe in his position, because he's making these little moves like h6 and so on. Rook takes e8, bishop takes e8, and now a very simple move could be either rook e1, h3, and even rook c1 to keep c2 undefended. But he goes knight e4, and this is not the best move, because now after knight d4, Magnus takes. The pawn on c2 is very weak. So apart from having the bishop pair, now black has something more to play with, and that is the c2 weakness. Magnus tries to get rid of it immediately. He understands the danger, but in return Jan can get back his pawn. Queen takes pawn, and Magnus looking on the other side, because he's seeing that there could be some possibilities with the knight jumping, the queen being here for an attack. He plays queen g4, and there is pressure here. In comes the move bishop c6, and he goes for a check. Is there some kind of a mating attack that could come? Not really, because the queen is controlling the very important diagonal here. So knight comes out to h5, attacking the g7 pawn, and the queen goes back. Magnus trades, pawn takes, the knight comes back to f4, attacking the pawn on g6, and the pawn pushes forward. The knight here, and now you are attacking the bishop, also the pawn, but Nepo goes king g8, pawn up to h3. What is essentially going to happen now is Magnus going to chop off the knight for the bishop. We have reached an opposite colored bishop endgame, and very soon the players might just agree to a draw, but Nepo comes in with his rook. Is he a bit ambitious here? Magnus can actually offer a trade of rooks here with rook e1, but he goes rook to d1. Nepo comes up with his rook, with his king, and the rook enters the position. h5, if you get a successful g4 in, then the g2 pawn will be a big weakness there. And he comes back with his rook, stopping g4 for the time being, and rook c2. The rook is very active for Nepo. Meanwhile, there's no way to make further progress. The king comes up, and now Magnus goes to d3. Can we go g4 here? Well, the g7 pawn was hanging, and so first g6 to defend it. Rook check. King comes back. You can see how Nepo is making his move. He knows that the game is going to end in a draw. The reaction of the players here is very interesting. Oh, g4. He gets it in. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Takes. And in fact, now he can take the pawn here on g2. Magnus is ready to move up. But Nepo goes pawn to g5. Rook comes up, attacking this pawn. King moves ahead. Check. And you can see Nepo shaking his head. He's like, really? Do you want to play this end game? It's a draw, Magnus. Come on. Check. King up. Check. King down. Check. And they agree to a draw. Actually, a brilliant game by Jan Nepomniachtchi. He sacrificed a pawn out of the opening, gave absolutely no chances to Magnus, and held a very solid draw with the black pieces. Well done, Jan.